Hello, everybody, and welcome to the next 2024 Lamley Award Showcase. We're moving from the outside to the inside for this showcase into the Lamley studio because we need this light because it's Hot Wheels RLC time and we need to let that Spectraflame paint shine. So that's what we're going to do. RLC today, that is the showcase. I've got the two of the latest releases from RLC that I have yet to open, so that's going to be part of this showcase. But we're going to be walking through all of them. All of the new models, at least. We've done, let's see, for the Lamley Awards this year for Hot Wheels, we've done Best Super Treasure Hunt. We've done Best Basic New Model. We've done Best Premium New Model. And to be perfectly honest, I was not planning on doing an RLC showcase this year. My thought was, well, we've got it covered with Basic and Premium and Supers and RLC, you know, there's fewer of them. And then I went back and looked, and we've actually had 12 new models released this year. And by released, I don't mean sold, like actually put up for sale, but actually sent out to the customers. Some were sold in 2023, and then were eventually mailed out in 2024. And actually some that have been sold today, like, for example, the Lincoln Continental, that sale already occurred, but we haven't gotten those models yet. Actually, I think it might arrive in the next few days, but too late for this, so that'll be included in the 2025 Lamley Awards. Nonetheless, I was like, we've gotten 12 new castings released in 2024, so why not walk through them and let you vote down below. LamleyGroup.com, the poll is there. All 12 models are there. You get to vote on the one that you think is best. Use whatever criteria you want. You can use deco if you want to, but we're focusing on the castings themselves. I'm going to put them in their order of release, more or less, but I might have some of that wrong. But we're going to walk through each of them and you're going to decide the models that you think are best. I did a video a month or two ago that I titled RLC's Never Been Better, It's Also Never Been Worse, because I think there's been a lot of issues with the collectability of RLC compared to years past. Like, they're not as rare. There's been some complaints of quality for sure, and for the cost of these. And I think for what people are spending, you know, 25, 30 bucks for a Hot Wheels car, while they're high quality and higher quality than a standard Hot Wheels for sure, there still is some thought, like, if we're going to pay this much for them, that element of rarity needs to be there. And that's been an issue. And I think it's a legitimate issue with RLC. I've heard it discussed among the Hot Wheels team as well, where to go and move forward and see what adjustments are made. But on the other hand, the quality of these castings in the Hot Wheels planet have been really, really fantastic. Brandon Vituski leads the RLC team. Some of the other designers have worked, like Ron Wong and things, Phil Reelman and some others, I believe, Dwayne Vance, like this one. But yes, these models have, so there's some passionate feelings and some mixed feelings about where RLC is right now. Enough of that, let's get to the models. This is the AMC Javelin. What's the official name? 1971 AMC Javelin AMX. This is done in Street Freak style, and it got a mixed response. I love it. I love that they did this in a Street Freak. It's very appropriate to the era that this car was released. Dwayne Vance, like I said, designed this one. You get the exposed engine. You get the, obviously, this amazing rake lift on this car. You get some of the details at RLC that Brendan has really been trying to push some realism in the chassis and the axles. This is a fantastic casting, and I really like it. A lot of people thought this was, you know, it was reflected in sales. It did not sell out. Some people really didn't like it. I was hoping that there'd be a little gain of appreciation on this style of car and this era of car. You know, if you like Bosuzuko, you should like stuff like this too, is my feeling. But, you know, to each their own. I really like this one. Like I said, mixed opinion on it. But I really, really dug this one. It doesn't all have to be realistic, and I think considering Spectraflame paint, the design, everything else, I hope we see this again. Here's another one from the RLC that was a new model this year. I can't remember when it was sold, but, you know, Brendan puts a lot of details in these that you don't see in Hot Wheels. There's more pieces in these models, and so moving parts and some other elements that he really likes to work on. He likes to experiment, do some crazy things, and I think sometimes that means that there's some back and forth in the design. So we get so Brendan will unveil these castings in the sneak peeks we do, but then there's some back and forth on really perfecting these castings. So when we see them, can really depend. So we had seen this one sneak peeks of this one, I think, a year in advance, and we finally had it this year. This is the Mercedes AMG G63 4x4. Spectre Flame Blue. No opening parts on this one, but ultra detailed in terms of the roof piece, the whittle waddle in the back, and the like the side mirrors and everything else. It's really neat to see this G-Wagon done. I was really happy with it. More modern G-Wagon in the Spectre Flame Blue. I thought that was cool. Here's one that was also very controversial for good reason. This is the McLaren F1 Ron Wong design. We had seen it previewed a lot. The doors on this one were the big issue among several things. I'll show you the doors. They wanted to do these scissor doors, and they wanted to do them right. Made it very complicated to add these axles the way they did, and I think there was a lot of back and forth in making these doors work. That being said, they didn't totally work. And so this one looks pretty good, but the fitment was a little off. They snapped off for some, and you just be the way this thing closed. Then there were just some quality issues in the car and quality issues in the paint. And I think ultimately it's a very well executed model, but in terms of the casting itself, but it left a little bit to be desired. And I do actually think, from my perspective, opening parts don't get me too excited, but I do like the innovation here on this. But you get a brake kind of with these doors. You get kind of a weird stance in the front. So ultimately, I don't know if this model was a success. I love Ron, and I know this is one of his babies. The McLaren F1 is one of his favorite cars, if not his favorite car ever. And he's done the GTR for 143. This thing didn't totally come out right. But that's my opinion. I know that's the opinion of others. Other people, I think, really liked it. And I'm curious to see if we see some modifications to that casting in the future. But that would probably be the most disappointing model if I did that poll. I don't think there'd be much argument there. We're just going to focus on the best. This one actually debuted as a convention model. This is Phil Reelman's convention model that he did for the convention a year plus ago. This is the 68 custom Plymouth Barracuda. I love this one. Kind of modernized Barracuda, kind of like it was his concept if this thing were customized. I think is the Helifon engine in this one? I can show that up there real close there. I believe it is. I think that's what he said it was. But because I didn't include that in anything last year, I'm going to use its debut as an RLC as it's included this year. So low stance, modern stance, kind of modern elements. We've seen that with a few different castings in premium that Mark Jones did with like the Nova, and then there's some elements to this that Phil has designed. Phil does some amazing castings, and he's been around a long time, and this one is one of them. Muscle car fans might be all over this one. Maybe they're all over the Javelin too. Very two interesting takes on muscle cars between the Street Freaks Javelin and the Barracuda. Now we go from Barracuda to the complete polar opposite into Ron Wong's world. He did the McLaren F1. There ain't many flaws in this one. This is the Pagani Huayra R. Has that long tail, has that fantastic spoiler, and this one, what you miss in these Pagani, what you miss in the Paganis in basic range with Hot Wheels are those signature mirrors. You get them here with what Ron has done design-wise. This one also has a removable piece in the back. I can go ahead and do that here. Let's see. There you go. Just pop it. So you get this really cool engine piece here. There's obviously a blue one coming. It's on its way, but this is the official new model. And while this one might actually be considered a 2023 new model, that's how it's been going with RLC. And the blue is the 2024. This is the new model that was released this year. I love this kind of gunmetal chrome Spectre Flame color. I love the details. I think Andres did the deco for this one. It's such a cool casting. It's nice to see supercars getting the treatment in RLC as well. I know a lot of people are excited about that one. Just a beautifully executed model. That we'll see that one in the Model of the Year tournament as well for sure. And that might be your favorite one. This one, another one that was somewhat controversial, and I was surprised by this, the RX-7. And some of the files done, this was kind of taken from Rio Asato's original RX-7 they did for basic. We've seen it in premium, but this one has been modified. the more the premium spoiler, and an opening part has a really beautiful stance. There's some upgrades, obviously, to the casting itself. The interior has that two-tone black and red seats, is really cool. What people didn't like was a certain lack of detail in the engine. I think they kind of call it a little bit blobby. I get it. At the same time, well, this is for you guys to decide. If you didn't like it, didn't like this engine, fair. Didn't bother me as much, but again, I've said it, with opening parts, I'm a little bit, I think the innovation there that Brendan does is fantastic, and I definitely appreciate that. I just think this, I'll be showcasing this model, or I'll be displaying this model with the hood closed. I'm glad it's flush. That hasn't been the case with some, and I like it in red. I like the wheels on it, so I dug this model, and that might be your favorite as well. A couple more that we need to go through. I think there were very few complaints about this one too. Another interesting muscle car. I'll open up the engine. This is the Typhoon, 1992 GMC Typhoon. Better put that in the shot. This one doesn't have as much of a blob look on the engine. Tons of details there. Typhoon as a complement to the basic Cyclone that was done. Now I'm thinking of when I did the video with the, I think I might have called the Cyclone a Typhoon. Anyway, I'll get some grief for that, I'm sure. Anyway, really, really nicely done. And one that, I think Brendan was really excited to do this one. And then just the treatment on it. I love the rims. I love the color. I love the stance. I love everything about this one. I was very, very keen on this model as well. And maybe you are. Maybe that's the one you're going to vote for. And then another one that we've seen previews of for a while, sneak peeks of, and it's finally been executed. And I love this. I mean, what a year, right? Look at these models. I mean, there's things to complain about with RLC, but these models themselves, my goodness. This is the 1986 Nissan 720 King Cab. Hardbody Nissan with this, removable piece. There, snap it right back in. That this element here, like kind of a lowrider truck, and has this element that you can move any which way you want. I just love the stance on this one. I love this element to it. Masters of the Universe. Kind of a cool little shout out to another Mattel property. This one was really cool too, and one that I think we're all excited to see future versions as well. You can sit that flush. You can actually put it up. I like displaying it more like, did it again. Snaps back in, so not a big deal. There we go. This is how I like displaying it, like that. But for this sake, I'll put it right here. Before we open them up, there's one other one. I have 3 to open up, but there is one that some people might have. I don't think you would have forgotten about this model, but it's definitely an RLC. I did not include the Daniel Arsham cars. I did not include the Mischief Knot wheels, just because they weren't technically, or Mattel Creations, but they weren't technically RLC. But there was one collaboration that was RLC. I think you know what I'm talking about now. And it was good old Optimus Prime. This one was developed as an RLC model, the basic transforming Optimus Prime, for the Mattel Hasbro collaboration for Transformers. We've seen Transformers show up in several different lines for Hot Wheels this year. None more signature or more collectible than this old school Optimus Prime. While I'm working on it, I count this as an RLC because it was done as an RLC. Spectraflame paint, and here, let's make sure, and we can put the fists. There we go. And even the packaging, if you look at the packaging, while it's unique to this Optimus Prime, of course, it was done in RLC style. So this is an RLC model, an RLC exclusive, even though it is a collaboration. So it's the truck. I mean, I could go licensed. I'm not going to. I guess this is licensed in a way as Optimus Prime. I'm going to put him right there. But very much an RLC release, and that might be your favorite. Kind of a little bit out of left field, right? I mean, look at these cars. You've got a Street Freak AMX. You've got the really cool Fuel Reelman Plymouth Barracuda. You got a Typhoon, a Pagani, a super cool hard body truck. supercars, everything, and then we're not done. And then Optimus Prime standing there. All right, there's 3 other models that we need to have a look at. We've done sneak peeks on these, but I got to open them, so I might as well open them now for this video because they are new castings and castings that you may want to vote on. This is the Dodge 1964 Dodge Power Wagon. Just recently released, recently arrived here. And I'm excited. We've seen this in sneak peeks, but it's nice to finally have this one in person. Box out of the way. Nice packaging. You want to freeze the screen if you didn't get one, you can. This one talks about Brendan's details in this, which he put a 413 wedge engine, which instead of a Hemi, which I think is a really, really cool idea here. Something a little different. And there's some details here that reflect that. So we can take that off, move that over here to the side. Here's the packaging. It's not even screwed down, so it's pretty easy to open. So we'll do that. There we go. All right. Here it is. I will open it up so you can see the 413. You can see 413 detailing on the hood. I think it's on the side as well. Yes, it is. In the back, there's no Hemi on the license plate, which I love that. It's got the opening tail, I think. Oh, maybe not. No, it doesn't. But it does have an opening hood because it's got to show off the engine, right? So there it is. That ain't no Hemi. That is a 413. Really cool. This is such a Brendan thing. Such a Brendan thing. Matte black. I love the color on this one, the olive green. This one might be considered the most underrated model because it didn't sell out, but boy, it sure deserved to, in my view. Also, he's played with the axles here too. Added these axle details that he can only do in RLC. You couldn't put that in a normal premium, obviously not in a basic as well. So you got these really cool axles. Now I'll put it on the turntable. Two-tone interior, obviously the really cool engine, which is a concept for the casting itself, right? And then the axles are just amazing. So this one really has a much more, it looks a lot higher because it doesn't have like, if you think about the front of the 55 Bel Air Gasser, it's just a big block, right? It's a big chunk. But as Brendan has been developing these cool, between the Javelin and this, what a cool, and we're going to see it on some other future cars that are coming out in RLC for 2025. You get these really nice axles and these really nice chassis, which I just think are so cool. So this one is a fantastic model. I don't know if it fits. It may not. Nope. So we'll put it right there. All right, we're not done. 2 more to open. Let's start with the Supra. I think this is going to be a good competition for this poll. I mean, between the Pagani and the Typhoon and Optimus Prime and stuff, I mean, it's just like, there's some good stuff here. The Supra is going to be a big player too. I did see some complaints about the Supra. I don't agree with them, just the big axles. I mean, it is a Hot Wheels car. It's got to have them. Haven't opened this one up. I've gotten mine all through Overdrive, all of my RLC, and if they were still available, I would buy an extra. Didn't get an extra of the Mustang. I did get an extra of the Supra. Overdrive was another thing to talk about. Some people didn't like Overdrive. I kind of get it because these cars didn't sell out, so there wasn't a real advantage to pay $100 just to be able to get access to these cars. I think that would have to be. I think the idea is great if these cars were really, really... There were some that sold out fast. The Mustang sold out really fast. Supra sold out fast too. But overall, it wasn't worth that cost to pay for access to these. All right, here is the Supra. It is so cool in this color. I'll show you the engine. I think the detailing there is pretty nice, all things considered. I think that's in the light too. That area right below the windshield looks nice too. Some people said the axle on the hood, it's a Hot Wheels. It's got to be a little thicker than that. You don't want that breaking off. Think about the fragile doors on the McLaren, and you want some, it's got to have some thickness to it. And it opens wide enough with this slope down. It's got to open wide enough so you can look at the engine. It's not going to sit like this. So those big axles allow for that to happen. Spoiler is its own piece, which is kind of nice. And then this one obviously has, okay, see now, I got to see. These have to close right. This is what There we go. At first, it was kind of bouncing up again. It still kind of does a little bit, but not that bad. BMW was bad. This one has this piece, obviously, that slips out. Christina did the color and the design on this, which I think is great. There we go. So now it can be an open top Supra as well. I might display it that way. I like it that way. Metal roof too, which is nice. It's not a plastic piece. These are really nice in terms of the innovation. Well, I'll just do it this way. Unicorn on the license plate. Love the interior on this one. This one's really beautiful. Big fan of this casting. Try and put this roof back. I'll just worry about it later. We'll put the roof off to the side. I do like it as an open top. I think that looks awesome. Different silhouette than we're used to in seeing die-cast Supras. So I like that one. We'll go ahead and put it right there. And then the last one, another one I'm excited to open. Only have this one. Got it through Overdrive. This one sold out fast. 2022 Ford Mustang Shelby GT500 Code Red. No number on this one. Was there a number on any? Maybe the Javelin got a number. I'm not sure. You want to freeze that and look at it? You can. Code Red Mustang, and then we get that new supercar one in basic in 2025 coming out. I've been excited to open this one too. Oh, the weight of these is so great too. All right. Spectre Flame Gunmetal Gray, right? Engine is all black. How about that with some red trim? You got the Shelby trim there. That's nice. That's really nice. Big axles for that one too. Again, so it can open wide. You want that. Silhouette is beautiful. The moment of truth is closing this, but I'm going to show it like this. Spoiler is its own piece as well. I think that's plastic, but it looks... I like plastic spoilers because they look nice and crisp and aren't susceptible to paint chips like some are. So if they can do a plastic spoiler, look at the interior too. Super detailed. Wow, this one is nice. The execution on this is so good. Front grille looks so good. All right, let's close the... see, that's a good... Nice and flush. Hood is great. Matte black. Trim on it. Obviously the red stripe. This is so nice. This is so nice. Well proportioned too. Dang. I don't know. This year I've been announcing my winners as I do the showcases, and I don't know. Okay, I get to add a little addition. I filmed this video before the Lincoln Continental came, but guess what arrived before I posted it? So I get to add a little portion to this video and include the new Lincoln Continental in this new model poll. So it will be in. I said it was out in the last video because it didn't arrive in time. We'd move it for 2025, but it did arrive in time. So here it is. Obviously, a lot of highlights here. I'm not even going to show you the packaging because we've been focusing on the model. So the double doors on both sides. This is such a Brendan Vitisky thing to go with the signature swinging double-sided doors for this Lincoln Continental. It's a major feature. And then just not only do they open, but the detailing on these is insane. On the inside, obviously the outside, but then like the detailing in the windows, how this is an open convertible, but still it gets all of this detailing. It's pretty phenomenal when it comes to the look of this model. Could sneak in and be the model of the year for, I think, a lot of RLC fans. I mean, I don't know. It's, or just collectors in general. I mean, the other thing is like this interior with the steering wheel and everything is super nice as well. No holds barred. Totally, I mean, what do you say? I don't know what to say. It's just a really, really nice model. So we'll put that on the turntable so you can take a look at it. Give it, it really is. I mean, this is what RLC is all about. This thing looks good without the doors open. I usually am one to say I'd rather there not be open doors just because of the gaps. But Brendan put a lot of effort into making sure there weren't major gaps in this and still pull off the double doors, which is pretty phenomenal for a casting. So there it is. It is in the poll as well. If this is your favorite model of the year, go vote on it. All right, I can only vote for one, right? I have an argument for the Pagani, for the Huayra R. I have an argument for the Typhoon. This is for my personal, for what I think is best. I think there's an argument for the Typhoon. I really do think there's an argument for the Power Wagon. I would even argue for Optimus Prime only because I just think it's so beautifully done and like so well executed, but I'm not a big Transformers guy. So I'll eliminate Optimus Prime, but I would feel you're very justified in voting for Optimus Prime in my view. That Mustang though, holy cow. The Mustang and the Supra. I actually like the Javelin too. Now you're just going to sit here and be bored by me choosing. Okay. So if I factor in the choice of the casting, and all of these are pretty unique choices. The Supra and the RX-7 might be the most on point with where Hot Wheels has been of late. Mustang, they always, Mustangs are Mustangs. They're great. I really like the Street Freak Javelin. I think that's such a unique choice. G-Wagon is a surprise choice. Power Wagon's great too. Okay, so unique, like the unique choice, the execution, and just the overall vibe. If I factor those three and did some sort of point system, just like trying to think of this offhand. All right, I got it. Okay, choice, execution, vibe. My RLC model of the year. I feel pretty confident about this one. And like the education, the vibe is also like what kind of gets me excited too. There it is. Execution plus choice plus vibe. It's never going to look better than this one in black. There you go. It's the Typhoon. This is my RLC model of the year. Is the GMC Typhoon. I love it. I love it. I love all these. Distribution aside, rarity aside, cost aside, that's a great mix of new models. That's a great year for RLC. You guys tell me what you think. I think it's a great group. Go vote for your favorite down below. This is a fun video to do. I'm glad we did it. Thanks, everybody. Bye.